everyone. Welcome to the new series of Exactpro webinars called AI Testing Talks. I'm your host, Anna Maria. I work in Exactpro, and I am outreach director of our education project AI Testing course. If you're interested in leveling up your career and discovering ways of leveraging the power of AI, do check out our website and learn more about the course and about award-winning ISTQB accredited AI testing course with us. You can check the first chapter free of charge. It will be 1 week trial. So co-hosting with me today is Yosif Itkin. Hi, Yosif, our co-CEO and co-founder of Exactpro. And in this series of webinars, we will explore artificial intelligence capabilities and combination of AI with the human efforts. And we will go deeply into details around generative AI, AI tools and biases, the role of AI in software testing, and many more topics in the future. So, and today's guest is software testing expert and Agile quality coach, Richard Seidl, with us. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Hello, it's very nice to have you today. So before we going with your presentation, I wanted to mention that we have gathered a few questions ahead of time with our audience, and which we are going to address discuss these questions right after your presentation. And everyone who are listening us in LinkedIn, please leave your message and the questions in the live chat, in a LinkedIn chat. So we are going to also look them through and address right after the presentation. So thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to the presentation. Richard, the microphone is over to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, I will talk today about the future of software quality from my opinion. And I will share here some slides with you. So, I hope you can.
Yeah, we see them very well.
Great. That's great. Yeah. But first of all, who I am, I'm born in Austria and now living in Germany for the last 20 years. And I'm a software test expert since about the 2000s, about 25 years now. I started with developing software and then going into software testing, quality assurance, and helping companies today to make their software better, mainly in the agile way of life, in all this stuff. And I have customers all around, all branches in the finance industry, in the government, some startups, and some logistics. And one of the big things I started in the last years is the podcast Software Testing. It's one of the biggest German speaking podcasts about software quality and software testing, which makes me very happy to have a lot of experts there in my podcast too, talking about this topic, because quality and software quality especially is a very deep part of my life, and I love all this software stuff in my life. And so when I look into the future, I see a lot of big opportunities for all of us people in the software development. We have now amazing times with all the stuff from tools and AI and so, but we have also a lot to test. And I want to take you to this journey today with my thoughts and my thinkings about what can we do in the future, what should we do as a tester, as a test automation engineer, as test managers in the project to make software even better than today, and how to use all the stuff and tools we have today. So to start, I want to figure out two main points which are now very aware all over the world. The first is the part of the technology. When I started as a young boy with playing around with the computer, it was such a craftsmanship. So we have to do everything manual, sticking around with all this hardware part, with very less memory, playing our games. And on the right picture, you see there one of my first computer. I run a mailbox. It's was it the grandfather of the internet, where people can log into my room and we chat on this computer. And since then, technology, you all know it, increases very much and evolved very much to an unbelievable way. I was in former days a big fan of Star Trek and was amazed about all this technology stuff they had in the future. But when I look now, what we have a lot of the things we saw in former days in television. I looked yesterday at one big part. I think we all see in the last 2 years is all this AI stuff getting around us. And if you look on a portal like Hugging Face, where a lot of AI models are populated and are forked to the developer community, and look how many AI models are available from one day to another. We have a daily increase from 1,600 models each day. And we have yesterday, I did the slides, I updated the slides yesterday. We had 755,000 available models for AI on Hugging Face, which it's an unbelievable amount of things we can do, we can use, we can share, we can develop and update, and it's even increasing much. You have all the time, all the news full of the stuff. All the companies are developing AI, and it's such a big trend, and we are all trying to figure out what can we do with it and how can we do it and how can we make it better. So it's, I think, in the part of software development, one of the big trends and big moments we are now we see now here. And I think a lot of you know the tools we are having on the commercial place. In Germany, we are happy we have now Cloud IO also available in Germany. We can use this Gen AI tool to develop such crazy things we can do with AI. You see in the top a picture from my latest vision board. I'm always doing a vision board where I put in my dreams for the future. And this year I decided to do the images not from magazines or from the internet. I do it with AI, and I generated some pictures for my dreams. And one was me sitting at my table, looking on this on a lake and have a beautiful workplace in the nature. And Midjourney generated me this picture. It's nearly perfect. I hope maybe you see there is my shirt is not done right by the AI, but it works. It's generating stuff that we prompting in. And I think we are now at the beginning of a big impact of a lot of industries. Maybe you saw the figure one, the robot with AI support on YouTube. If not, you can do it on YouTube. And yeah, there's such an amazing time now with all this stuff. But it's only for us in software development. We saw it, we use it, we think about how to test it and how can it support us by our test effort. But I think there is even one big another thing we have to mention about, and it's a little bit in the shadow of all this AI stuff. And these are two trends I think we have to mention in our quality assurance part a lot in the next years. And the first one is that we now are able to connect a lot of services of our daily stuff within minutes. In former times, we had to do it with a lot of interface specification and programming the interfaces to connect all these services. Now we have a lot of tools and a lot of platforms who are able to integrate different services and connect all this stuff. And together with this AI support, on the right side, you see Claude.io is able to show what you program with it. So you can get in a dialogue with the AI, and it shows what you generate. I did here a landing page, and then you can put all this stuff in. You can use your frameworks, your JavaScript frameworks and all this stuff to generate programs and apps and websites. And I think these two parts, the connecting of all these services and the software support we get from AI in development space, that leads to one big thing, that software development and the development of applications is not only a thing that only programmers can do in the future. We have a lot of low-code, no-code platforms today where nearly everyone is able to make software. So we have a big democratization of all this programming stuff. And if we think a few steps in the future, if we have the possibility that everyone can do software, a lot of people will make software, and we have to test it, and we have to put in quality in all these platforms, in all these software systems. So we have a lot of things to do in the next years, I think, in our software development branch. And I think it's even getting more sophisticated if we think about how do we think about technology innovation and all this stuff. We people all have not a good ability to extrapolate an exponential flow of development things. We often think in very linear, in a linear way. If we saw our iPhone 16 in this year, we think about, oh yeah, we're 10 years before we had maybe the iPhone 6, and maybe in 10 years we will have the iPhone 26. That's how our brain works, and how we think the future will be. But we all know, and maybe we techies, we know it more, but we cannot imagine it truly, is in 10 years, we won't have a smartphone or an iPhone. I think we will have another communication device, and this is all because of the exponential growth of all the stuff we do in innovation, with the density of our circuits, with the possibility we can do with our AI stuff and so on. So we will have a big, more changed world in the next 10 years than we will have we had in the last 10 years. And so we have to deal with all these things in our quality assurance part. And another thing in terms of technology I want to mention is who are the innovators today. In former days, the innovators were the engineers who did a lot of mechanical stuff, all the optimization of all this productivity stuff of automotive, of big factories and so on. But this has changed in the last 10, 20 years, so that a lot of innovation and getting wealth out of products is done by software. So the innovators today are even more the software engineer people, and not so the engineers. So if you look at companies today, we think that Amazon sells books and stuff, but they are doing that with software, with perfect algorithms to sell to people, to put in prices. All is done with algorithms in the social media part. So the big point here is that software engineers are even more the innovators today than in former times. So I think the future of software and technology, and you can imagine it if you have used all the stuff we have now available, like AI and so on, there will be great part of all technocrats and technical thinking people and all this stuff we can use. But there is another part, and I think that's even more important also for our software quality part, because if we think for whom do we make our software, why do we need quality in there? We have the big part again, as aside to technology, the human people, so we. And our brain is still in a mood of where we're sitting around the campfire and telling stories about how was the hunting today and the collecting of everything, and telling stories at the campfire, but not in this exponential flow like software or technology boosts us away with all the stuff we can do today. So we see that in a lot of contexts, in organizations, in our society, in families, that this technology part, that the software part is stressing us. We have to manage all the things. We have to think about all the stuff, and if we break that down into our teams, we have to have methods to deal with all this stress and all this overwhelming stuff from the technology. Another part is, and we saw it in the software development very, very direct, I think, is that we moved from a complicated society and market to a very complex society and market. What do I mean with that? In former times, maybe you remember, when we developed software, we had a project plan for 2 years. We had some phases to deal with our requirements, then programming stuff, and then maybe testing a little bit, and then put it into production and release it. And if we think at these times, the requirements, all the network and the parts about the market, and so they were very clear to understand. The network was okay. We saw where we have a cause and effect. We can deal with all these parts in our software development projects. But then something changed, and I think it was the part where the internet comes in, and all get very complex and all get connected with everything. So we cannot imagine, we cannot understand how things are connected together today. And this leads to a very difficult environment for us. We have to deal with all this VUCA and BANI things, with the volatility, with the uncertainty, with the complexity. Where can we do such things? How can we do it? And all in a very fast manner. And so when we look at this part, we have this big focus now on what is about the people, and we have this overwhelming part of all this AI stuff, of all the software parts, tools we have now available, and we can use and do now. I want to mention some things what we really need for a good software testing in the future. And as I said, I'm working with a lot of companies the last years, and a lot of teams, and when I look at them, and some teams are working very well, they are doing the stuff very good, and some have to do a lot more of learning and to get through the deep part of software to make it better. But I saw 2-3 parts where we can control how we test software in the future, and how we can test it better and get better quality in our software in the future. And I think the 3 parts I want to share with you, and hopefully get a lot of questions afterwards, so we can discuss it here in a like asynchronous way. The first is, and it's it's I'm not very happy to say that. It's that we still have to use all the foundations we learned in our software testing lectures in the first hours. And you see that, yes, still, I'm doing training a lot of IST, for ISTQB and all these test methods. And a lot of people get certified, get learned, get trained by this stuff. But when I look at the teams in the projects and look at testers at their daily work, they don't use it. They know it, but it's unused. So the first part, and it's such a simple, but we have to learn and we have to do it, is to use all the foundations we have in testing and to check what of these parts are applicable to our software projects, to our teams, to make better software. And that are not many things. So we can talk about the test levels. So think about the testing pyramid or the test levels like unit tests, system testing, integration testing, acceptance testing, all this stuff. So to think about which level is appropriate for my software testing project is, I think, yes, yeah, well, we have to do it. But when I look at teams, I often see, well, we're doing such a little bit of unit testing here and some bit of acceptance testing, but no more other things, and it's done. So we have to check how can we address these test levels. These test levels are best practices from the past, and they have all their focus and their context where they have their goals to achieve for us. So just use it. And the other part is all the test types. So we are now confronted with a very complex world. We have to think about also security. We have to think about usability. We have to think about performance, efficiency, and yes, also sure about functionality and all these test types we know. So, and even more if we think about the AI part, so we have to think about what is quality there for us. Is it performance? Is it usability? Or are there new test types we have to think about? Because when we test AI products and software, so we have to think about what does quality mean in this area. So there are simple questions we have in this foundation part we have to think about. The second part is the usage of the test techniques. We all learned them, I think, or a lot of people learned them and get certified by them: equivalation partitioning, boundary value analysis, all this kind of stuff. But the usage in the daily work, I think, I often see that the testers are doing the tests more like, yeah, it's okay. So we do this test there, but there is no systematic way of exploring and requirement and making good test cases from there. Another part is the static analysis. It's one of my favorite parts in software development, because with static analysis, we still have and will have a very good quick win about what's going on with our software. And there's also a big gap from, yes, we know all the stuff and we use it. I know companies who bought big software tools for static analysis and they have them installed, then run them, and then do nothing with that because there are so many issues or things. There are so big reports, so we cannot deal with that. We have to do our daily work. So we are building a big part of technical debt here if not using that. And this is so easy if you think that static analysis is such a cheap way to get an report about the quality of your software on a static basis, sure, but it's a very beneficial way of getting better quality. And the fourth part is all the stuff about reviews, about learning from each other and to collaborate and think about how can we test it better, how can we improve our quality. So these are all foundation techniques in our quality assurance part. So, but we have to use it. We have to use it more and have to think about which of these techniques, which of these levers is appropriate for our project, for our product we are dealing with now, and have to think about how can we do it in our practical day of life. So the first part, use the foundations. So we're fit for the future. The second part is it's about automation. And even if I think about when companies or teams or project leaders think about test automation, there's still now big thinking about, oh, it's all this GUI UI stuff to automate, and yes, we are not doing this because they are so flaky and so on. But to get all these things done we have to do in our software development lifecycle, we have to automate everything that can be automated. Not in a way to build big massive automation. We still have to think about what to automate, but we have so many things where we can put automation in. Sure, we have unit tests. I think they are normally automated, but we can do our API tests. We can use CI/CD for process automation. We can use today Copilot and so for better development to automate the support from for our developer to make better code. We can use our Agile test automation methods like ATDD or BDD or the TDD, and even pair programming and all this stuff can be supported by such tools. So we have to think about automation on a broader view to see what can all be automated, and not just doing a little bit of UI stuff. So you see, it's a big focus there on the foundation and on the test automation part. But I think for the future, if I look at the teams and the people who are working there, we have a third part, and this is for me in my consulting coaching area, the biggest of these three, to make test teams more efficient, to make development teams more performant, more harmonizing together. And this is doing a little bit more agile again. So if we cannot hear it agile anymore, because we often think in a way of all this framework stuff, but I want to look away deeper there. So I want to look at the part there which I think is one of the core parts of all agile frameworks, and this is the personal development and the team development in a software development team. And there are some things I want to mention where we have to focus, I think, in the future much more than now. And I think all these agile frameworks, best practices, you can call them like you want, or methods, and so they are leading us there. But I think we are using that then often not as in the right way. The first one is that we have to focus more on skills, not roles. I think it was one of the first agile things I heard in 20 years ago was, yeah, quality is now not only done by the tester, everything has to do quality. It's nice said, but if you say the whole team should do it, nobody does it. So we have to think about what does this mean in a team for us? Who has the skills to do the test automation, to do test cases, to create test cases, to review requirements, user stories, and so on. And this is not more a part of a role, but a part of skills. And if you do it on this way and give the team the ability to build up their strengths and to use their skills to make a better quality, they get a big, huge attitude of quality in the team, which is not only done by rows. And it's an amazing part if you see a team where they start like an agile team with we have here the developers and we have here some testers, and say, okay, how can they support each other? But with time, if you coach them and if you support them, they work even more together. They do pairing together. They do pair programming, pair testing. The developer begins to make more testing parts, more quality parts. The tester gets more into deep details about unit tests, all this stuff. And in some teams, you see after a few months or years, no different between a developer or a tester. So they are working together to make good stuff in quality. But this is a part which is not done by any methods or frameworks. So this is a part of personal and team development. The other part is that we have no more time to do these one-shot tests. We have what do I mean with that? A lot of testing in the past is going this way, that we're doing a lot of functionality tests, and then, at the end of the project, we think about, yeah, we have to do our performance tests, and we do have to do our pen test and our usability test, and then some specialized people get all the releases and testing that, and we are getting the results back, and then everything is bad, and we have to rework our whole architecture and all this stuff and decide what to do, because it's an overwhelming part of issues we have to fix there. Especially in Europe, we have now some regulatories in front of our next years. We have a big usability challenge next year. We have all this the Cyber Resilience Act part. We have to mention. So we cannot do it anymore there. We have to think about how can we do this non-functional thing by design in our software development, to think security, usability, and all this part from the beginning to the end, and not just when we want to release all this stuff. So I think we have to change how the team works about software development, not just doing their user stories and a little bit testing. So think quality as a whole team. Another part, and I'm invited to a lot of workshops in the last weeks where companies say, okay, now we have a lot of money because we have a budget for AI. So what can we do with that? And especially in testing and software quality. And I say, yeah, we have to think about which problem do we want to solve with it. So we can, sure, it's nice to play around with all these tools and all this stuff, but do we have a problem to solve with it? And that could be very individual. Some projects have problems with their test data. Some have problems with their infrastructure. Some with their requirements, and then we can think about, if we have this problem, is maybe AI or another tool solving this problem? If not, maybe some things are such totally easy, so we have to do another process, or we have to do a review. So no tool helps us there. So AI is a great tool. We can use it in many ways, but we have to often get one step back and think about which problem do they solve, and not buying a tool and then we have the tool and we have to find our problems for this tool. So, and the fourth part here for me is to getting quality more in the team part is to live more the agile values instead of the frameworks. So when I look at the teams from the last 10 years, they are doing a lot of stuff, but they are not doing Scrum or something else. They're picking from there like a buffet and taking what fits for them. And I think this is the first part, to get a good quality thinking also into the team, to take a retrospective and think about what can we do to make better quality in our software, and to gain more power there. And then let the team decide what works from them and for them, and let them decide what to do in the processes, in products, in solving their problems of daily work. And then, therefore, there is maybe growing an own agile way out of this retrospective thinking about this, and also an own quality way. And some teams decide not to use AI automation, UI automation anymore, to put all automation in the deeper levels, or to use an test data generator. And thinking about together about these things leads to a much more quality responsibility, as if there's just one tester there and has to do all this stuff for his alone. And if I go one step further and look at teams, maybe you know people and teams who always see the problem. And if you think of problems, and if you talk about problems, and even talk about more problems, and there is a problem, and the problem gets even bigger and bigger and bigger, and you only see problems and no solutions. So that's a main part I think we have to learn for our personal development in the team, but also for the team development as whole, to think about more in solution and to talk about solution possibilities for in our team. And I think this is one very, very essential part, because we live now in a world where we are confronted with a lot of problems everywhere, in our companies, in our society, in all over the world. We see a lot of problems. You have to switch on YouTube or television or something you like, or a news feed. There are a lot of problems in the world we see in real time in our feeds. So we have to put them away and to think about what are solutions, what can we do to create new solutions in our teams, in our companies. So to change the perspective and the focus there. And it leads to another part. And in the introduction, I was named an agile quality coach, but I like the word coach or mentor, because I think if we talk about the future of software quality, it's not so a big part of with methods we use, but how can we drive our team and the people there to think about quality and to generate a quality mindset. And you all know a quality mindset is not there on a finger snip. It's a way we have to go. We have to think about values, where the team has to think about what can we do, what is a vision or an utopia where we can go, what do we think about us and the company, how do we get more clarity in what we are doing there. So we have sometimes teams, software developers and testers, who don't even know what they are programming for and where their software is used. So all this stuff in mentoring, coaching leads us there to get the team more aware of all these quality parts, and to think about it on a new way, and to click and integrate it into a big mind in their team. And also, if you support such a team, if you're a project leader or something else, to help them to understand what is the benefits of their doing there, and how can we support their courage to do more new things, to play around with AI, and to think about how can we use AI to solve such a problem in our testing environment, and so on. And if this is done right, you see one very, very interesting part. If I look at teams in former times, there were sometimes meetings where there is talk about the software quality and everything. Everybody has to do quality, and then one developer says, "So I'm doing 80% development and 20% I have to test." So, and if you if you support a team to think quality as a whole responsibility and to help them to understand what does this mean, this part disappears. So every team member lives quality in the team, brings their opportunity, and there is no difference between unit test or UI testing or non-functional testing or test data management or test environment. Everybody has to say something to that or to think about that. And then you see that a high performance team, a good top dev team, lives quality as an attitude, and nobody is talking about testing anymore. And I think this is one of the keys for the future. So I hope you've got some inspiration there, and yeah, now happy to have some questions from you.
Thank you, Richard. That was very interesting speech. And before we, well, no. Can you just go back with the presentation, because I have a few questions on that, on a few slides. So before everyone are collecting themselves, gathering themselves to leave the comments in the live chat, I wanted to leave like a few comments, and maybe you will address my questions as well on the last slide. So you're saying that the top dev teams leave quality as an attitude. So it means, and you also mentioned that the whole team should be aware of quality parts. So you're talking about the mindset for the whole team. So my question here, as we are a software testing company, and we are fully with the mindset of software testers, if you know what I mean. So is it applicable for so I assume that this phrase is applicable for software testers as well. So they should also live with the quality in mind, right?
Yeah.
So my question here is, and you as a software testing expert was also called on some recent interviews as how it was full-time optimist, right? So I may be confused with the German version of it, but probably this way. So you say that you are a software tester optimist, and my question here is, can optimism impact on the ability on focusing on the failure? So as a software tester, we are focusing on quality and optimistically thinking about the quality and software overall. Is it helping overall for searching bugs or not? What do you think?
I think it fits very, very good, because sure, if I'm looking with a tester view on a part, I have to find bugs, but and I have to be a little bit of destructive and to find the holes where are the problems, but not in the manner of focusing on the problem, but in the solution. But my goal is that this bug is fixed and not that I found it and it's there. So I think the optimistic part there also is that we, the whole dev team, and here on this slide also it mentioned it's also including the testers in the team or the quality engineer or something. We want to deliver good software, and we have all our views in the team on the software, and we're helping. But the goal is to have good software, and this is the part we are working for. And yes, if I'm looking with the tester perspective, I have to find bugs, but we can celebrate the bugs because they are not out there in real life. So we fix them, and we can eat a lot of pizza together with the devs for each bug we found.
Thank you. I got that point. So I've been asking just because at Exactpro, I would say that we have a lot of critical thinkers, but not optimists at all. So I would say so.
I think you can be a critical thinker and an optimist too.
Yeah, probably. So another question that I had on the slides, if you go a little bit back on the slide where you're saying about solutions and problems, where yeah. So So if you could elaborate on that, so I will comment. So the question is, so if we look at this phrase on a perspective of from software tester perspective, so from a software testing perspective, it looks like that we will miss something when we stick to that idea. I will explain. So at Exactpro, we think that finding a bug and any type of bugs has a valuable source of information about the software. If you are meeting any of the bugs, you're missing some information, obviously. So, and this phrase uh, means for me at least that this, if you are focusing not on a problem but on a solution, that means that you are meeting some of the problems that you don't have solutions for. So and that means that you are like, if your mindset is focusing on the solution, on the fixing bugs, you're just not seeing, you are biased, let's say. So you're biased on the fact that you are not seeing those that you can't solve at all, and you don't understand. So can you please elaborate what, maybe I missed it from a speech, what you meant by focusing on the problem, focusing on solutions instead of the problems? But because from software testing perspective, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you have the sample with a bug and you fix it, that's true that you have to learn about what you fixed there, and so it cannot do a regression and to learn and to make the whole team better to avoid doing such bugs in the future. I think that's true. What this quote means is that if you're focusing on problems like we cannot run our unit test because they run so long. So they need 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, and we cannot use them anymore. And if you repeat this talking about that unit tests they cannot be run because we have such a complicated architecture, and we are not going there. We cannot use unit tests, and it's no way for us. So you will never come to a solution for this problem. So you make the problem even bigger. You always talk at every coffee. You talk about why unit tests are not working at our team. But you have to think about the way, how can it be? How can we use, what have we do with our architecture, with our design, maybe with our infrastructure to make unit tests possible? So that's the part of the thing. That's more of a few thing on the process level and on a team level. But I'm with you. If you have a bug, you can learn from it, and that's true. So you can learn from every problem, but you should not get stuck in the problem and don't see any solution anymore.
But wouldn't it be more related to the process problems rather than product problems? So if we have product problems, the talk about them is something that is very important, regardless if we have solution or not. So not be able to run unit tests, or the fact that they're taking lots of time, is more a process or project problem, project risk, but something that is, say, we believe that there is a problem in the airplane is not really, and we do not have an immediate solution, is still a valid point to raise.
Yeah, yeah. I think one part of this is that we in some companies I see that the people get stuck and said that all this process stuff is not my business. So they take no responsibility for and they're just talking about the problem. Why does these processes all don't fit to it? But they have all an implication on my product I have to do. And I think the times are gone where we can split so hard the product and the processes, because they together they make the good stuff running and to make the work fun and so. But sure, you have to, if you have problems in the product, in the architecture, you have to solve them and you have to address them and you have to make them clear to and transparent to the whole team and to all the stakeholders, and to talk about how can we fix that. This part is mainly thought in the way of processes, because there we have now, we can say it's to the Scrum Master, she or he has to deal with all this process stuff. But I don't think so. We have all our part and can put in a part of the solution to make the processes better, that we can do a good product.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but we have one question in the chat that I wanted to address. I'll read it. You've mentioned European Accessibility Act and probably DORA. There is a joke: US innovates, China replicates, Europe regulates.
Yeah.
So do you think regulation improves software quality?
That's a big question. Do we have another hour? I think yes. We have different parts of the world where as such, I think we can do a lot of jokes there. So if China copies and the US do all the innovation stuff, not about thinking about consequences, and we in Europe we regulate everything. I think we regulate a lot of things, but we're doing that on some parts too much. We're doing too much regulation on some parts, but I think for me there is a big benefit doing this stuff, so we can discuss things, we can talk about these things, how can we do the stuff better. And even if we look now, and we have to this usability stuff next year and the cyber resilience and on these parts, we have now to think about how can we do these non-functional parts in our software. We should have done that in the years before too, but we didn't do it. So we have to think about it, and I think there's always a solution, not by only doing all this regulatory stuff, but to think, what does this mean for me and how can we use it to make our software better? So that's the positive part of my answer. But I'm also thinking that the regulation is in a lot of things too much, and sometimes done by people who have no really deep understanding of the parts they are regulating. Yeah.
Right. Yes. But you're focusing on positive things more. So we are not going to discuss the negative part of the regulations this time. Thank you very much. Yusuf, do you have any questions, or I can proceed with mine?
Maybe following up on this, why do you think there is any particular reason why people do not rely or use in their daily practice foundations, ISTQB foundations enough?
Mm.
So you gave a number of very good examples, like storing static analysis logs somewhere and never looking into them, etc. So can it be that not everything is applicable in variety of context, or maybe there are some other reasons? Maybe we do not regulate it enough, or we regulate it too much, etc.
I think I always like the view on these foundations on a very lightweight usage. So these parts I had in the slide before, the test levels, test types, static analysis methods, testing methods, and reviews. This is for me is like a checklist for a software project. So we have this. There are 10 things. So I can look, do we use unit tests? Do we need them? Okay, yes, no, okay. And then further on, integration tests, do we need them? Where do we need them? Is it good things? And so we can put all these things to check if these foundations are met in our project, and to have an impulse to think about it with the team. Do we need this? So nobody says that you have to do system testing, so you can let it be, but you have to think about it and have to decide it if you do it or not. So this is one part. The other is, I think, especially if you look at the test methods, what I experience is that a lot of people have a difficulty to transfer the stuff they know, they learned in a foundation level or read in books or blogs, to transfer them in their reality. So they are sitting in front of a user story and think, wow, and how should I do their boundary value analysis now? I don't know. So there's a gap, and I think this transfer is one part, especially a test manager or a quality engineer can help the testers to do these test cases, to make good test cases, or if a requirements engineer, business analyst is doing examples to help them to understand these methods and to transfer this. But this is only done by practice, and I think this practice part is one of the major issues why we don't use these methods. There's now another new training, an AI-based training from A4Q, the practical tester, who wants to fill this gap, to make it more practical, to learn how on the train, how can we use these methods in real life and not just in a theoretical way. And if you see in the testing methods, they have all an idea behind why they are useful. And if you can deliver this and transfer this idea into the people, into the projects, then they understand why they should use it, and then they use it also here.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, it's the practical part of this foundation is a foundation as well that we have usually. So just to follow up on what was already asked by Josef, the foundations that you're mentioning, it's obviously the extensively covered with the H2QB syllabus. And I understand that you're involved in the work with H2QB and with H2QB community. If you could cover briefly what are you doing there and how you're contributing, would be nice. And my question here is, what is the one thing you would change in H2QB syllabus to make it more suitable for the future? So just pick one, but most important.
That's a good question. So, I think the ISTQB foundation level is, I think, one big success story, because it's the first big syllabus, international accepted syllabus, and it helps at one particular part in every project, namely, because what does one part mean? So we have now a glossary where we say integration testing means that, a test manager is that, test data is that. And this is one big benefit, because I know a lot of organizations where system testing sometimes mean the testing of the whole environment and all the stuff there, and sometimes only one part of the system, and sometimes the system. There are differences, and foundation level helps us to speak one language there. With the last update, there's a big move to the Agile part, the integration of Agile thinking, and or even not so much to add on Agile, but to remove the traditional parts, to make it more like a modular framework to use in our testing projects. And I think what would I add or what would I change? I would go more deep into other test methods, because for me they are a core aspect of the foundation level, to give there more help to transfer them in the agile way, or mainly also the agile methods, testing methods and techniques, which are mentioned in the foundation. I can we go deeper there, and to give a more hint how to transfer this ISTQB knowledge from the foundation level into practice, because the transfer is always a very individual part. We have all different projects, and nobody has a waterfall project or a V model or a Scrum project. I don't know one company who do it in clear form there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably it would be really a good idea to go deeply, and maybe the practical tester that you mentioned before. And by the way, we are going to talk about practical tester a little bit more in our next webinar. Stay in touch, and and that will be very useful for all the quality guys who are going to gain new skills, and the practical test will be very much helpful in that. So by mentioning the topics in software testing overall, you being a co-author of a number of software testing books, could you tell us more about that experience, and is there a topic in software testing that you think is not quite elaborated yet, that possibly you could cover in the future? So is there is planned maybe?
Yeah. I always doing the joke that the books I wrote are my therapy from the project's experiences I had in the past. Yes, we wrote a lot of books with my colleagues too, and to structure this testing part. The beginning of software testing, that we had a lot of the testing was not the profession as it is today, and we try to structure it in different ways. We talked, one book is about system testing, the other about integration testing, about test automation, and so to give it more and compendium to read if you want to look on something. Now you have also YouTube, the podcast, or blogs where you can put your information or get your information from. I think the main part for the next things, I think we have there are two things I can think about the software testing. What about a new book or a new part in software testing? I think this is this quality thinking, to step out from the software testing. It's what I mentioned in my last point of team development, how to get quality engineering, quality thinking, testing thinking in as a mindset of the team. I think this is a big part where we can do a lot of thinking stuff in the next years, how to get there, and what to learn and how to doing this transfer. And so, but this is not only still a testing part; it's also a part of coaching and of Agile. And so you see, this is all getting mixed up and integrated in a part. But maybe this is a topic, and I think when I look at AI testing, we have now in Germany, we have a very good new book in D. Verlag, and Basiswissen KI testen. It's called how to test AI. And I think there we will go much deeper in the next years, because I assume we don't understand 100% what we are doing now. So there we have to think about how can we test, how can we think about it. And one part, and that's a big part of the whole AI testing now, I think, is that we have to think again, what is quality in our software? we often write it in our test plan. There's a chapter, so take the ISO tralala and write down your quality characteristics. So we write it there, put it there, save it, and close it. But we don't even think about it. But we have to think about again, what does quality mean for our software? And I think this is one part we as testers at Quality People can put a lot of effort the next years.
Yeah,
Yes.
while totally agree with this statement, I'm just curious. And also in your presentation, you mentioned that for AI software, we need to think about what quality means in this area. But isn't it also the case for any type of software? And to a degree, we can see different approach in ISTQB AI syllabus and foundation level syllabus. So, for example, in foundation level syllabus, there is in version 4 term test oracle. So how we uh, can understand whether the software works correctly or not is not mentioned once. In AI testing syllabus, it is very well represented. So it looks like people are not afraid of conventional software, but afraid of AI software. And that's why they think that it is necessary to talk more about what quality means for this type of software. But isn't it the case for any type of software?
Yes,
So
yes, it is sure. But we have in the past we have the yeah, we had good times. We programmed our software and we're putting into some functionality things, and we have an easy test case. So if you do this, that comes out, and everything is happy. So it was very clear. But we have now with AI a much more complexity level. We have to think about this stuff. I don't have a test case in a classical way. I put in this and this comes out. There comes always another thing out. So we have to think about how do we shift our quality understanding. And now what you say, it reflects back in our traditional software, and we have a lot of traditional conservative normal software. So it's not all about AI. I think we have to think about the future there too. And I think it's always good to talk about what does quality mean, because up to now we often, as I said, we wrote it down in our test plan and make a check mark there, but don't think about what does it really mean. And so there's a loop back, and now we can focus on that too there.
thank you.
Thank you. Let's see if we have any more questions in the chat. I'm a bit struggle to see the questions in the chat because I have some technical issues. Yosef, can you see any other questions? If not, I have one more, but it's a kind of philosophical question, I would say, about the title overall. So you're talking about the future software quality, and what does the future, so if we are talking about glossary meaning of the words, what does the future exactly mean? It's is it already started, or if it's not, why? So everything that you've been explaining and sharing with us, all these four pillars, I would say, of what can help software tester to make a quality work on the software, but why we have not been doing that 10 years ago, for example, or 20 years ago? Because agile methodology has already been here for 20 years, or maybe a bit less, so I may be mistaken. So the agile methodology was already there. We've been focusing some time already on collaboration within the team, and about this leadership piece on and focusing on quality. It's supposed to be the part of the agile process overall. And now you're talking in a way about this in a way that it's coming to another stage for the future. What has been changed so severely? So now we need to focus more only on this part because the rest probably is already clear.
Yeah. I think we had a very comfortable time ago in the past.
Yeah.
We had times where we didn't have to test anything. It works a little bit. And then, yeah, it's magic or not. And then, yeah, we put in the tester and found some bugs and so, and the testing strategies and a little bit of test automation to get more efficient or more effective testing and so. But in a whole lot of time, it was a nice add-on, or we do it, but if we do it a little less, it's okay. It works anyway. I think these times are gone in the near future, because all of this complexity, and this is not a part which starts today or starts with AI. It starts in the last 10 years where we go exponential also in the team performance, in the team integration together, where we have to focus on these parts now. We have to do them to make quality work. I think if we do not focus on this part, people development, on the test automation, and so there's not an exit scenario, the project is done. It will not work. It will not deliver good software. It will not deliver anything. So I think we have now a big pain there. So we have to do it now. In the past, it was more than, yeah, the devs doing Agile and a little bit of unit testing, it's enough. So we can a little bit play around with the CI/CD, and nice to have. Sure, we have also there a very hard impact on regulatory sites, and so we have to do it there. But there were always ways to get around with a lightweight or a very soft testing mindset or quality mindset. But I think we are now getting into a phase of software development and product developer where this is not even possible.
Yeah, and if we're talking about the future of the whole software testing process, what is so you've been saying it again. I hope that I'm not repeating myself and your presentation, but you've been saying that we are not longer having roles, but we are focusing on skills instead. And I'm just a little bit worried about software testers' perspective. So they are not going to be called testers anymore, and they don't have, and they are not going to have that role anymore. Is that right? What is the opportunities for software testers for the future?
I think there's a big opportunity. Sure, I can be a software tester in the future, but I think the times will not there be that I only sit there and writing test cases with my methods and then playing them through and writing an error report or an bug report. I think the integration with the other team members leads that we as a tester have to learn coding, like maybe with Copilot support or ChatGPT support, but to learn scripting, learn the tools. The developer have to learn the testing skills. I can help them to learn testing skills. They can help me to learn the development. So I will never be a perfect software developer in the future, but I have to understand what they are doing. And I think so the testing, well, we see it sometimes in the job description that from the tester they becoming a quality engineer or quality support or a quality assistant or a testing engineer or something like that. We're changing names all the day. But I think this is more, I put in there my testing skill, you said it before, the tester view, the viewing for the bugs, where are the bugs? This view I put in as a competence into the team, and the team can use it, and we can share our strengths there. So I think sure, we have the whole testing things. There will be testers too in the future, but I think the competences, they will get more broader. And if I look at the job descriptions, and I know a lot of people who are mainly tester, but also learned the scripting part and the test automation part. And in my mind, these are the people who earn the most money now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, that they are getting more and more skills within their roles, and you should definitely understand what's happening around, not blindly follow only your role. That's 100%. Joseph, do you have any more questions from your side?
Sure. On automation, you mentioned automate everything you can. So, do you think anything will remain in the near future that is not automated, or where there are, say, physical or theoretical limits of what can and cannot be automated?
Yeah, if I look at the present state, there are a lot of things which cannot be automated. They are too complex or too much test data driven with very complex parts, or time consuming, or very inefficient. So I think there should be always, and I think it will be in the near future, that there will be manual testing too. And we have a big part in all this test automation stuff that we have to check, does it work? Do we automate the right stuff? And I think we have to keep that always in mind. What do we automate? So we have a lot of opportunities now, but we have to think about, is it okay to automate it on this way, on that way? And to think about mutation testing or something, or fault injection, to check if is our automation good, and not 100% rely always on the automation, and to click our exploratory testing, to make our manual testing, because in the end we have to decide, is the software good or is it not good. So this will never, hopefully not doing the AI or something like that. And I think this is we have the tendency to think, okay, we can automate everything, and let's do 10,000 new test cases automated. But if they are trash, they are trash, automated trash. So we have to still use our brain for that. And I had one example in the near past where I talked about a developer who told me, yeah, he uses now the AI to write unit tests for him. And I think, okay, what's the benefit of this unit test? If the code is not correct, I write unit tests which are successfully green if the wrong code works. So we have to think about, are this the right strategies we are using? So
I think in the future we're still going to have like a human hand controlling the AI, hopefully.
I hope so.
So everything will be all right. Joseph, do you have any other questions? Or I think that we are very close to the end. Joseph?
I think nothing from my side. Thank you. It was really interesting discussion. I still think that mechanical hand can always crush the human hand. Well, maybe one last question that I do have, talking about the future. Do you think AI can be responsible, or responsibility is something human?
It's hard for me to say never say never. No? I don't know. I think we have now an AI world where we look, which is mainly driven by marketing. We see a lot of tools, and they are good, but they have also a very big expectation, and we now see, if you use ChatGPT for CEO or something like that, that now you can read after 2 years. If you read a blog you see if it is written by AI or not. So I think we have to take a deep breath and look at AI, what it is. A lot of trained data with algorithms, and then we see what the future will bring. I think there will be more things that to come, sure, but I think we are far away from a situation where all the responsible can go to an AI.
Thank you, Richard. I think that that is fair, and I hope that we're still going to control everything in the future. Thank you very much, Richard, for the talk. It was a very nice discussion, and I hope that you enjoyed it as I'm enjoying it now. So thank you very much, and see you soon on our next episode of AI Testing Talks. And stay tuned, follow our LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you very much.